Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Girivaradari Yashodhana Rajajana Ranjana Rajajana Yashodhananda Rajajana Ranjana Rajajana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodhanandana Rajajana Ranjana Jajana Jana Yashodhanandana Rajajana Ranjana Rajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Vishnupad Paramahamsa Kadiraja Katarya Stota Stota Shishimad Divine Grace Sri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Kadiraja Katarya Stota Stota Shishimad Divine Grace Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Nitya Gaur. Reading from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. I think I have where you requested. Let me just find it. Okay. Prabhupada wrote, Jadurani, I always remember you as the nicest girl because you are so devoutly engaged in the service of Krishna. She had informed him that she had been cheated by a boyfriend. And Srila Prabhupada replied, better you accept Krishna as your husband, and you will never be unfaithful. Devote yourself therefore 24 hours in the service of Krishna and see how you feel happy in all respects. Rupanuga had written Prabhupada that the temperature in New York had dropped below zero and that there had been a 2-day blizzard. Srila Prabhupada wrote, certainly the situation would have been a little troublesome for me because I am an old man. I think Krishna wanted to protect me by shifting me here at San Francisco. Here the climate is certainly like India and I'm feeling comfortable but uncomfortable also because at New York I felt at home on account of so many beloved students like you. As you are feeling my absence, so I'm feeling for you. We are all happy on account of Krishna consciousness, either here or there. May Krishna join us always in his transcendental service. End of Prabhupada's quote. The neophyte disciples in New York felt assurance from their spiritual master's words and by their own experience. Service and separation was a transcendental fact. They were improving enchanting on their beads, and the New York Center was going on. So long our kirtan is all right, Prabhupada wrote, there is no difficulty at all. There was one difficulty. Attempts to purchase a new building, which had gone on smoothly while Prabhupada had been present, had become a great problem as soon as he had left. Shortly after Prabhupada's departure to San Francisco, Brahmananda had given Mr. Price $1,000, and Mr. Price had promised to help the devotees get their building. When Prabhupada heard this, he became perturbed. Stop there. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Reading from 4th Canto, Chapter 29, entitled Talks Between Narada and King Prachinabhari, text 56. Rajovacha. Maybe I'll just chant it because they can't hear. Rajovacha shrutam anvikshitam brahman bhagavan yad abhashata naitad janantyupadhyaya kimna bruyurviduryadi shrutam anvikshitam brahman bhagavan yad abhashata naitad janantyupadhyaya kimna bruyurviduryadi shrutam anvikshitam brahman bhagavan yad abhashata Naitaj Janyan Chupadhyaya Kim Nabruyurviduryadi. Rajovacha, the king said, Shrutam was heard, and Vikshitam was considered. Brahman, O Brahmana, Bhagavan, the most powerful. Yet which Abhashata you have spoken, na not. Etat this Jananti do know. Upadhyaya, the teachers of fruitive activities. Kim, why? Nabruyu, they did not instruct. Vidu, they understood. Yadi, if. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The king replied, My dear Brahmana, whatever you have said, I have heard with great attention, and considering all of it, I have come to the conclusion that the acharyas, teachers, who engaged me in fruitive activity did not know this confidential knowledge. If they were aware of it, why did they not explain it to me? Purport. Actually, the so-called teachers or leaders of material society do not really know the goal of life. They are described in Bhagavad Gita as Mayayatharitagana. They appear to be very learned scholars, but actually the influence of the illusory energy has taken away their knowledge. Where knowledge means searching out Krishna. Vedischa sarvir aham eva vedya. All Vedic knowledge is meant for searching out Krishna because Krishna is the origin of everything. Janmadyasya yataha. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Aham adir hi devanam. I am the source of the demigods. Thus Krishna is the origin and beginning of all demigods, including Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and all others. The Vedic ritualistic ceremonies are concerned with satisfying different demigods, but unless one is very advanced, he cannot understand that the original personality is Sri Krishna. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. After hearing the instructions of Narada, King Barahishman came to his senses. The real goal of life is to attain devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The king therefore decided to reject the so-called priestly orders, but simply engage their followers in the ritualistic ceremonies without giving effective instructions about the goal of life. At the present moment, the churches, temples, and mosques all over the world are not attracting people, because foolish priests cannot elevate their followers to the platform of knowledge. Not being aware of the real goal of life, they simply keep their congregations in ignorance. Consequently, those who are well educated have become uninterested in the ritualistic ceremonies. At the same time, they are not benefited with real knowledge. This Krishna consciousness movement is therefore very important for the enlightenment of all classes. Following in the footsteps of Maharaj Barhishman, everyone should take advantage of this Krishna consciousness movement and abandon the stereotyped ritualistic ceremonies that go under the garb of so many religions. The Goswamis from the very beginning differed from the priestly class that was engaged in ritualistic ceremonies. Indeed, Srila Sanatana Goswami compiled his Hari Bhakti Vilas for the guidance of the Vaishnavas. The Vaishnavas, not caring for the lifeless activities of the priestly classes, take the full Krishna consciousness and become perfect in this very life. That is described in the previous verse as Paramahamsa Sharanam, taking shelter of the Paramahamsas, the liberated soul, and becoming successful in this life. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Gyanatimrandasya Gnanjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We are hearing now the conclusion of Prachinabhari after hearing from Narada. As we know, the king was engaged in fruitive activities, and from this verse we understand that he was doing that under higher instruction from a priestly class. After hearing from Narada Muni, he now rejects those previous teachers and accepts a new guru. So the Bhagavatam describes that, yes, that is bona fide. One can reject the guru who is not able to deliver one from the path of birth and death. Rishabdev says, Gururna sasyat, sojanona sasyat, pitana sasyat, janani sasyat, daivimna sasyat, napatischa sasyat, namochayatyat, sumapetum mrityum. All these superiors, whether a guru, whether a father, a mother, a demigod, a swajano, even a relative, one should not take that superior position or accept dependence unless he's able to deliver them from birth and death. So who can deliver another from birth and death? One who himself has become eternal. Who can become eternal? The devotee. By understanding Krishna, one never takes birth again. So in other words, unless one is a devotee, one should never take a position of superiority, never accept dependence. And so in that purport to this verse from the 5th canto, Prabhupada describes different persons who rejected their superiors. One, the famous, is Bali Maharaj, who rejected his guru, Guru Nasasyat. We know Bali Maharaj, he was approached by Vamana, Vishnu himself, begging for charity. And his guru Shukracharya, Shukra means semen, Acharya is the guru. So he was a hereditary guru. He was a family priest. And he instructed him against devotional service to Vishnu. And so what did Bali Maharaj do? He rejected his instructions completely. Shukracharya was worried about his source of income. He said, if you give him everything, where will my salary come from? So do not give him. This is Vishnu. He will take everything from you. And Bali very intelligently rejected his instructions. Then there is the example of the wives of the Brahmanas who rejected their husbands. Their husbands did not recognize Krishna and Balaram. And so they did the opposite of what their husbands did, and they went to the Supreme Lord to serve him spontaneously. And the third example is that of Prahlad Maharaj, who rejected his father. His father was a demon. He was an exalted devotee. He tried to teach him so many ways of material advancement. He wouldn't give it up, no matter what happened. So Prahlad Maharaj, he says that such leaders are blind. Matevidu Swartagatam Vishnu Durashayaye Artamanya. Antayatandir Upagiyamana, that those who are themselves blind, interested in materialistic activities, they actually seek out a guru who's similarly interested in material activities. And the result is that both the blind follower and the blind teacher, they fall off a cliff to their ultimate destruction. So Prahlad Maharaj, he gives the example how to reject a guru. There's two situations where a guru can be rejected and there's no fault. One, when he is not knowledgeable, he's not able to lead the disciple to a higher position. And the other is that if he is found to be fallen. Chanika Pandit also says a similar thing, that if a guru does not give knowledge, he's fit to be rejected. Guru means one who removes ignorance. So if he's not able to do that, then he's not performing his function. So one has to be a devotee. Satkarma Nipano Vipro Mantra Tantra Visharada, a Vaishnava Guru Nasyad Vaishnava Swapacho Guru. If a Brahmana knows Mantra Tantra, he's very pakka, knows all, he may even know all the scriptures, but he doesn't engage in devotional service. He's not a Vaishnav, he cannot be accepted as a Guru. But if a person is born even in a very low family, if he is a Vaishnav, he has Krishna within his heart, he can be accepted. So one has to be a devotee, and a devotee will never instruct one in material progress. Vitrasura in the sixth canto, he describes that a pure devotee will never engage their disciple in fruitive activities, what to speak of encourage them or help them in such pursuits. Just like as a physician, the patient may want some forbidden eatables, but the physician will never give them that. Krishna says a similar thing. If a devotee is interested in material desires, he approaches me. I'm not so foolish that I will give them that. Rather, I give them my own service. So these priests were telling the king to make money and enjoy in basic terms. And a devotee will never do that. Although in one situation, Prabhupada did instruct two disciples like that, but they were deviant. There's a room conversation. It's a pretty long one, maybe 20 minutes, of two disciples approaching Srila Prabhupada, and they were in a challenging mood. They were pretending to be submissive, but actually they came there to cause trouble. And so they were asking Prabhupada, we meet an intelligent class of people, and how can we present different parts of the Bhagavatam? Particularly, they were asking about Maharaj Ugrasena having 1 billion bodyguards. So he said, Prabhupada, how can we describe this to them? In the planet currently, there's 2 billion people. This was in 1975 or so. I'm not sure what the population was there, if that's accurate or not. But they were saying, how could we present this to them? It's just not logical. And Prabhupada said, why are you presenting that? Present something that they can understand, like you are not the body. But they said, they insisted, Prabhupada, but they bring this part up to us. Prabhupada said, well, they ask you this, but they never ask me. Nobody's ever asked me about Ugrasena. Why are they asking you? So after pressing like this, finally they said, but Prabhupada, we want to know. In other words, we are doubtful. We do not believe this. Prabhupada said, well, the Puranas have so many things that you will not be able to conceive of. So either you accept it or you reject it. If you reject it, that's fine. Do whatever you want to do. And they insisted, pushing on. Prabhupada said, you have come to me. I say, stop it. I have given you the answer. I have no more knowledge to convince you. Finally, they said, Prabhupada, but what should we do? We are your disciples. And Prabhupada replied to them, you should make money and enjoy. Krishna consciousness is not for you. So that's actually the greatest misfortune a disciple can have. It's described that if a guru praises you, that's okay. If he chastises you, that's better. If he neglects you, that's troublesome. But if a guru rejects you, then there's no hope for the individual. Another time, Prabhupada, one disciple came to him. He was living in Radhakund. Prabhupada told him particularly, don't go there. He came back after some time. He said, Prabhupada, can you give me your blessings so I can find another guru? Prabhupada told him, I'll give you my blessings to go to hell. So the guru will never instruct like that unless the disciple has been rejected. With these two disciples, actually, that were pressing Prabhupada, Prabhupada told them, actually, I can tell you are not following. He said, you have come here speaking like this, and I can sense by your appearance, you keep long hair. None of my disciples keep long hair. So just by your physical appearance, I can tell you are not following. So a disciple can be rejected. It's the rare occasion. We also hear of Ramachandra Puri, the famous example. Madhavanja was passing away. He was absorbed in separation, virahabhav. Ayi dina dayadranata he, maturanata kadava lokyase, hridayam toda lokakataram, daita bhamrati kim karom yaham. O my Lord, O most merciful Master, O Master of Mathura, when will I see you again? Because of not seeing you, my agitated heart has become unsteady. O my Lord, what shall I do now? So he was singing and praying like this. Ramachandra Puri came. He said, "You are supposed to be absorbed in Brahman. Well, what is this?" And Madhavendra Puri became very upset. He said, I'm here. I haven't attained Mathura. And this rascal have come to instruct me about Brahman." So he also was rejected, the result of which he became critical even of Lord Chaitanya. And that was the end of him. He was a Krishna aparadi. So fruitive activities are not the way of devotional service. They are not the way of the godly and religious. And Prabhupada takes this opportunity in this purport to elaborate on that. That a real religion is free from fruitive activities. Actually, if one who knows Prabhupada will take note that he is criticizing the smarta brahmanas who are after profit, adoration, and distinction. They're after their own self-aggrandizement under the name of religion. So there are many persons of that sort. Some of them are intentionally cheaters. Some of them are just ignorant. For Chinabari here, he says that actually these teachers of mine, they did not know. They were simply ignorant. Can't fault them that much. But a guru, so-called spiritual master, who is intentionally cheating is worse. And there are many examples of such in the world today and in history who are after money and sense gratification. And sooner or later, a person who is perceptive, they will be able to distinguish who is authorized and who is not. The truth can only be hidden for some time. Therefore, they say honesty is the best policy. There was one person, a journalist in the 1960s or 70s, who many yogis and swamis were coming to America. After Prabhupada departed, he wrote an article scrutinizing every one of them, a long list. And he found that with every sannyasi or yogi who had come to America, everyone had some fault. But he concluded this one, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, he's the only one who left with his dignity intact. So Srila Prabhupada, he taught us, the Acharyas have taught us how to distinguish the real from the fake. From Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who removed all Apasampradayas, from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, who was called this lying guru. He would preach very strongly to the extent that some of his disciples wouldn't bring donors to him because they're afraid he's going to speak like this and they're going to stop giving money. But he was interested in the money. He was interested in revealing what is the truth and guiding his disciples to a higher state of existence. So Prabhupada would speak very strongly. One instance, he was in India, chastised, Kumbh Mela actually. And he was criticizing this guru, this Swami, this yogi. And one American lady, she was there. And she heard him speak. And at the end, she said, I can sense you are not a sadhu. In other words, she was saying, why are you criticizing like this? A real saint sees everyone equally, sees everyone with compassion. And Prabhupada's reply was that if one has a boil on their skin, then the remedy is to take a knife and cut it. The remedy is not to blow on it very sweetly. So he said that real compassion sometimes is difficult to bear. So all these acharyas did like that. They didn't just remain quiet. They were able to distinguish the real from the fake. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, a famous incident of his was when there was a yogi, his name was Bisaki Sain, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur was involved with the government. They were English Europeans. And so they heard many complaints about this yogi. They told Bhaktivinoda Thakur to please go deal with this issue. Bhaktivinoda went to see him. He was actually living in a jungle and he had accumulated a lot of followers. Every time he would speak, there were thousands of people listening to him. Rich men would give him money. Some even gave him their wives. So there are many complaints. He one time said, I'm going to have a rasa dance, so bring me all the women of the villages. And some foolish persons did like that. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur went to see him. And as soon as he came, the yogi began to show mystic powers. He would be able to uh, cure all kinds of uncurable diseases. He would manifest fire from his head. So when Bhaktivinoda appeared, he began to tell him everything about his life. I know who you are, your mission. I know you have some military men standing in the trees. You have not come here alone. And after speaking like this, he gave him a palm leaf with everything that he said written in poetic form. So basically, he was trying to impress Bhaktivinoda, and he told him, I am Mahavishnu. I have ascended from the ocean of milk. Soon I will remove all these English men from India. And he said, if you give up what you came here to do and follow me, when I do that, I will give you even a greater position within my government. Bhaktivinoda Thakur left, came the other day with even more military men ready to arrest him. And so the yogi became angry. He manifested flames from his head. They looked like snakes appearing from his eyes. Also, he was shooting fire. And all the military persons became afraid. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur wouldn't back down. He began to preach to him. You just come with us peacefully, and then everything will be all right. And he said, you are just an ordinary jiva. You have some powers that you have got from the Supreme Lord. And you cannot continue like this. The Lord will definitely bring you down. So just come with me peacefully. Finally, the yogi agreed. Okay, I'll come with you. And he actually said that I'm coming with you because the Supreme Lord, he protects the word of his devotee. So, so because you have promised the Englishmen that you'll bring me, therefore I'm coming with you. Anyway, he finally was arrested. He uh, put up a whole fight during the trial. Bhaktivinoda Thakur wouldn't back down. His wife told him to let him go because his daughter became sick. The school caught on fire. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was feeling like he might have a heart attack during the trial. He had to be carried to be able to give the sentence. But at the end of it all, uh, when he was sentenced, some English uh, government person who was in the court, he had read that yogis, they keep their power in their hair. So after he was walking out of the courtroom, he took these big pair of scissors and chopped off his dreadlocks. As soon as he did that, he fell to the ground. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes that when his hair was chopped off and became weak, all his followers abandoned him immediately. So this is just one example of uh, the fake being removed by the influence of the pure devotee. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's another example given by Mahaprabhu himself. And Mahaprabhu went to Vrindavan, and his servant, Balabhadra Bhattacharya, was with him. Mahaprabhu visited all the forests of Vrindavan. Finally, he was living in one person's house, and there were so many villagers going to the Yamuna. They said, Krishna has appeared. We want to go see Krishna. So after about the third night, his servant approached Mahaprabhu, my lord, please allow me to go see Krishna on the Yamuna. Mahaprabhu slapped him. Well, how could you say such things? The Shastra declares that the Lord never appears in the age of Kali. Do not become so bewildered. So then in the morning, a Brahmana came. Mahaprabhu told him, have you seen Krishna? The Brahmana revealed to him, there's a fisherman. He goes out at night to do his work. Boat rocks back and forth. He has a flashlight and he casts a shadow. And so the villagers go there and they see the boat. They think it's the Kaliya serpent. They see the shadow. They think it's Krishna dancing on the Kaliya. And they see the torch and they think it's the jewels on the head of the serpent. So in this way, he showed his servant that don't be so foolish. It's just a fisherman, and everyone is accepting it as the Supreme Lord himself. So there are many bogus persons who may say that they are Krishna, they are Mahavishnu. This yogi that Bhaktivinoda Thakur met, he had two others with him, and they were claiming to be Brahma and Shiva. So all three of them were there, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. So Prabhupada says like that, in India, there's an avatar on every street corner. Even now, I've some years ago, I used to meet this young guy who was bewildered by one person named Adidas Amraj, and his followers are still present, and they all think that he's an incarnation of God. So Mahaprabhu showed that one has who. How can you accept a guru? How can you accept the Supreme Lord? By indications of the scriptures. Guru, sadhu, they speak the Shastra. And if he says he is Vishnu, then please show us your universal form. The example Krishna presented in the Bhagavad Gita. Show me your four arms. Where are your Lakshmis? Lakshmi Sahasrata Satasambhamanam. How could Narayan be a poor man? So these are examples. The devotees who we follow, they come from a bona fide sampradaya. They uh, have to fall into four categories. Brahma Rudra Sampradaya, who is Madhvacharya. Rudra Sampradaya, who is Vishnu Swami. Or Shri Sampadaya, which is Ramanuja. Or Nimbarka Acharya, who is Sanak Sampradaya. So if one says that I'm a guru, then he also has to have a guru, and that guru has to come in disciplic succession. And actually, it said that all these different acharyas, they preach different vads: Advaita Vad, Vishishta Dvaita, Advaita Advaita. But Mahaprabhu, they have differences among them. Mahaprabhu, he reconciled all the differences and presented his own Achintya Advaita Tattva. So in the age of Kali, the only bona fide Vaishnav Sampradaya is that of the Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And these acharyas, they follow the Mahajanas. They come in a way that is authorized. Their behavior is exemplary. As Arjuna asked Krishna, how can I tell who is pure? And Krishna's answer is that Arjuna asks, how do they walk? How do they talk? How do they speak? How do they sit? And Krishna, his answer is that they are free from all material desire. Paraphrasing. So Vacho Vegam, Manasakrodha Vegam, one is able to control the senses, one is qualified to accept disciples all over the world, and one has to have knowledge. Kiba Vipra Kibanyasi Sudra Kenanor, Ye Krishna Tattva Vitti, Se Guru Hoy. So these are the ways that we can understand who is to be accepted. Nowadays, most religions are full of envy, and therefore they're full of envy, full of lust, full of greed. And therefore, every religious leader quarrels with another religious leader. Everyone's approach is how to defeat another religion without actually logically presenting why is it that their religious process is most pure. So the Bhagavatam says, Dharma projita kaitavatra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. Real religion has to be free from all cheating propensities. So Prabhupada often would say like that, the mosques, the churches are all empty because they have not been able to capture the intelligence and the heart of the followers. So somehow or other, we have the good fortune to come across of Srila Prabhupada and his mission. His mission is creating a Brahminical class, and it is the only hope for humanity. Prabhupada says this in the end of the purport, and he says this in many places, that if anybody wants any light in the age of Kali, they should follow this Krishna conscious movement that he has started. In one interview with a reporter, Prabhupada was asked, what is your message? And so he replied, my message is that I've come here to remove all these thieves, these rogues, these no good politicians. He said, actually, a politician and a leader, they take so much responsibility that even if a child dies young, or the child dies before the father, the king feels so much responsibility on his own head. So then Prabhupada was asked, is there anybody like that in the world? And his reply was, yes, me. So he always thought big. He would encourage the devotees to think big as well. He had plans of creating his own country. He said the country of Mayapur We'll buy all the land in Mayapur, we'll create a self-sufficient community, and then we'll establish independence from India. We'll have our own currency, we'll call it the Chaitanyas. There'll be one Chaitanya, 5 Chaitanyas. He also said that our exports from this country of Mayapur will be devotional goods. So it's pretty amazing what he has done to give us real knowledge and to distinguish reality from illusion for the welfare of all, as the Bhagavatam also predicts. So I'll stop here if anybody has any additions or questions.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Such a wonderful class in the morning of text 56 explaining how to select a proper guru. You have given such a good examples to understand the basic principles of selecting a proper guru. Most of the time we are bewildered by the external features of the guru and the way they deal with, but you don't go deep into the subject matter and try to understand, to distinguish which is the real guru. And Srila Prabhupada has um, given the right direction to select a proper guru with examples, as you have given Bhakti Vinod Thakur, to distinguish between a Falgu guru and a real guru, as you given the example how he fought against that Falgu guru and finally he established that he is not a real guru. He is just earning the money by way of some mystic power. So it is very, very important to understand and right selection of right guru, and that is Shastra is telling us, not by the physical appearance or by some examples or mystic power. The real guru has to be a person who is fully knowledgeable and follows the one of the 4 sampradayas. And he should have, if he is a proper guru, then he should have some symptoms that resembles to the scriptures, not like whatever he says is to be followed. So it is very, very important for all of us to understand the real guru and the Falgu guru. And this is what this subject matter of this text. And thank you so much for explaining with proper examples to understand the selecting a proper guru and move our spiritual life in the right direction under the shelter of a proper guru. And our spiritual master under the umbrella of Srila Prabhupada are those gurus who really guide us in the right direction in our proper spiritual way, so that we don't get bewildered and accept the right consciousness under the umbrella of Krishna consciousness provided by Srila Prabhupada in his institution. Thank you so much. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Anyone else would like to contribute?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandot Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Haribo.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for the nice class, particularly the importance of a guru, that the purpose of a guru is to get transcendent from this material level to the spiritual level, so that we can go back to Godhead. That is the purpose of accepting a guru. And guru, we should not restrict our activities on so-called karma khanda activities, by which we can only get elevated from from our present earthly planet to higher planets, but that is not the goal of life. And the purpose of life is to transcend the material level and go back to Godhead. And in this feature, the importance of guru, which you have very nicely told, the guru should have the ability that he should be able to deliver his disciples. And that is the purpose of accepting a guru. And so we should also be very careful, because unless we are careful, we will not be able to accept a guru. Because if we act foolishly, we cannot get a good guru. Just as a material person, while buying a property, he make so much investigation. Similarly, he should also make he should make serious thought and take it very seriously and make proper searches so that he can find out a guru who can deliver him. That is the purpose of life. Thank you for bringing that point, and Hare Krishna. Thank you once again, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Okay, thank you everyone for allowing me to speak for my purification and to be in your presence.
Once again, both of you are chanting
सीताराम भगवान
Bhagavatam, Vishnu Govinda, Ananta Koti, Vishnu Govinda ki jai, Srila
वृंदावन
Prabhupada
मधुर्य
ki
प्रभु
jai,
की
Jai
जय
जय।
Vrindavan
प्रभुपाद
Madhurya
की
Prabhu ki
जय
jai,
गौतम वंदे
Om
हरि
Namo
बोल
हरि
all
Namah
Guru
Bol.
Star Samali Gauri
All
Hare
glories to
Krishna.
Simali
Thank you
Gauri.
very
हरे
much,
कृष्ण
Prabhu. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.